Cull Obsidian is coming to Marvel Snap.
Yay, yay!
If this card makes you excited, you probably get excited about the yearly updates to the Toyota Camry. Listen, you're not wrong, you're just weird, alright? Anyways, we're reviewing the card.
Is it worth it?
What's up, nerds? Before we get into some of the details and nitty-gritty of Cull Obsidian, let's just talk overall impressions. So, like I joked in the intro, it's, I think, a great card, albeit boring. I mean, yeah, I guess you could get excited about just a powerful, good, flexible card coming to the game, but it doesn't do anything. It's not Grandmaster. I mean, I don't think Grandmaster's a good card, but you get my point. No one's going to be posting about their awesome Cull Obsidian plays on Twitter. But that being said, I think this card is fantastic and even more flexible than people consider. Let's jump into the mechanics. All right, mechanics for Cull Obsidian. Oh, listen.
Hey, listen!
This video is going to be a lot more simple and a lot quicker than the other videos I do for card reviews, because there's not much to be said about Cull Obsidian, really. The first thing to bring up here is that one-cost cards can be played on the same turn as Cull Obsidian. This has been confirmed by the devs, and basically what I mean by this is if you have, say, Nightcrawler and Cull Obsidian in your hand, and it's turn 5, you can go Nightcrawler into Cull Obsidian in the same lane. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but that makes this card way better than if it didn't work like that. Obviously, anyways, yeah. The second thing to bring up is this effect will work the same way with, say, Nightcrawler moving into a lane and then you being able to play Cull Obsidian into that lane. Say Nightcrawler's on the left lane, you want to play Cull on the right lane, just shift your Nightcrawler over, that opens up Cull to be played there. And the last thing to bring up is discounts. Now, I guess Elysium would be the easiest example here, but if Elysium is a location and say your Zabu gets reduced to 1 energy, that will not count towards Cull Obsidian. This isn't going to come up too often because how often do cards get reduced to 1 energy from 2, aside from playing this card in like a Loki deck or a Quinjet deck? Not often, but it is something to note. Alright, what are the good parts about Cull Obsidian other than the fact that it makes Crossbones look like an even worse card? How is that possible? I don't know, but it happened. Alright, the first thing up is his requirement is actually super duper easy. Think about Typhoid Mary, Sentry, Atuma, Crossbones. All those cards, really, they have really bad downsides for the 10 power. Atuma, you pretty much have to have Armor, Zero, or Professor X, otherwise he's kind of unplayable. Typhoid Mary has to be run with Enchantress or Luke Cage, otherwise it's unplayable. Sentry, you have to play that on a Cosmo lane or Zero, or have it in an Annihilus deck, otherwise that card is unplayable. You get my point, all these 10 power 4 energy cards, they're way harder to make decent. Cull Obsidian, you gotta play a couple 1-drops in your deck? What? It's not even a downside. The second thing is obvious, he's a big boy. I've already mentioned these cards, but Typhoid, Sentry, Atuma, I guess Warpath can be considered here. I think Cull Obsidian is better than all of those. So for 4 energy at 10 power, he's one of the best energy to power ratio cards in the game. The third upside, no weird downside. Yeah, I guess having a 1-drop at a location is a downside, but is it really? All right, the fourth good aspect of Cull Obsidian, I can count, is he's way more flexible than it seems. If you're playing a deck that has 3 1-drops, I think you should probably run Cull Obsidian now. That's a lot of decks. Think about most decks. They have 1 or 2 2-drops for sure. How often do you play those 1-drops in the decks that have 2 1-drops? Let's just go with 2 1-drops. Like say a Darkhawk deck that's running Nebula and Korg. How often in those games do you have a Korg and Nebula down at some point in the game? 80% of your games? 90% of your games? That's 2 1-drops? Bump that up to 3? How often are you going to be able to play Cull Obsidian with 3 1-drops in your deck? Probably 95% of your games. That's fantastic. And if that's the scenario, Cull Obsidian goes into way more decks than he seems. It's not just a Thanos card at all. The bad.
I still hate you.
This is the one major downside I could think of with this card. Is Shang-Chi. What else am I gonna put here? I don't know, I can't think of anything. If you could think of something that makes Cull Obsidian a legit, like, bad play at any point in the game, leave them in the comments section below, because as far as downsides go, Shang-Chi is the only thing that's coming to mind. And you know what? That's not really a Cull Obsidian problem. That's a Shang-Chi is a necessary evil problem. Moving on. Deck list. I always sound like I say something else when I say that. But anyways, this is the type of deck I think Cull Obsidian could go into that isn't Thanos. Yeah, obviously I could just put together a Thanos deck and be like, here's a good example of a Cull Obsidian deck. Duh. I'm not going to do that. This is a archetype that I really enjoy. I've been playing it for a long time. You have Nebula, Nightcrawler, and Zero. It's cool because Nightcrawler, you can move it and then play Cull into that lane, so you're not stuck playing Cull into one specific lane. Everything else in the deck here is just pure power. Maximus, the highest power 2-drop. Miss Marvel, Atuma, and Cull Obsidian, all the highest power 4-drops. Ronin, pretty much the highest power 5-drop, especially if you play Maximus at some point. And Scar at the top end, if he's discounted at all, he's pretty much another Atuma or Cull Obsidian. This is the sort of deck that I think Cull is going to be great in, and is going to give Darkhawk decks a run for their money for the best, like, mid-range good cards type decks. Now, you don't have to do Rockslide Darkhawk Korg stuff to just be like a good cards mid-range deck. Now you can do something like this. Alright, Spotlight recommendations this week, whether or not you should grab them with tokens or the Spotlight keys. I think this is a no-brainer week. If you don't have Thanos or Cull Obsidian, use your keys, go for Cull Obsidian. If you don't have Nimrod, that's just a little cherry on top. Now, as far as tokens goes, this is always a little more tricky, and it depends on your reserves, basically. How many keys do you have? If you got like 8K, 9K tokens lying around, I think you just buy Cull Obsidian. Either way though, no matter what you do, if you decide to pick up Cull Obsidian, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. This is a very boring card. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you're not going to be super excited playing this. This isn't Grandmaster, you know, you're not doing something cool and different. This isn't Annihilus, but he's just as good, if not better than those cards. All right, that's it. That's the video. Super simple this week. Cull Obsidian, I think, is a must buy if you are like a spiky, which, if you don't know, basically means like you don't really care what the cards do as long as they're good cards and you can win with them, then you're into it. This is your card. It's boring, it's unremarkable, it's a Toyota Camry, but the Camry is the most reliable car on the road. That's Cull Obsidian. Thank you for watching. Check out my sponsors in the description below. Into the AEM, 10% off site-wide when you use code NERF10 at checkout, or just use the link in the description. Also, check out some original design clothing that I've made in the description below. Members of the channel get 10% off. I'm out of breath. Okay, later, nerds. You're not wrong. You're just weird.